Dr. George Akuffo Dampare denies working relationship with Bugri Naabu. Now, let me just read that story quickly for you, and we will. There's many stories on that, actually. One of them says, I don't visit Mahama, he doesn't visit me. There's another one here that says, Dampare denies withholding promotions. So one of the accusations that was leveled at him. So let me read that one first. They denies withholding promotions. The Inspector General of Police, Dr. Akuffo Dampare, has denied withholding the promotions of officers who are due for promotion. Recently, 82 aggrieved police officers sued the Attorney General, the Ghana Police Service, and the IGP for acting unfairly and capriciously with respect to the failure of the Ghana Police Service to promote them. The police officers claim that they were due for promotions after the completion of their studies through the study leave with pay policy of the service, but they are yet to be promoted several months after the completion of their studies. However, Dr. Dampare refuted these allegations and indicated that the service had promoted all those that were due. There is no hold-up of promotion for any junior officer in the whole police service, he said. Even as we speak, the structure has been that any junior officer who is 4 years is sent to training and then they are promoted. They are waiting to promote the next set of officers who are due for promotion. So nobody in the service whose promotion is being held. Okay. Now, I'm sure you followed some of the proceedings so far. I don't know what you make of the time of the IGP on the panel, and then some of the comments that have come out of the conversations that they've had with him.
Well, first of all, let me say this, that I am not entirely supportive of people who record people either deliberately or not deliberately.
Yeah.
I think that conversations had in privacy should be respected
as private conversations.
Many recordings of myself in privacy has put me in trouble, and I think that as a cultural thing, we need to watch it. But then it also serves as a wake-up call for many people in high positions, and to that extent, it brings me back to my own scenario. When you call officials and they don't respond, you complain. But then again, if you're calling officials and you're recording them, then you don't expect much from us. So these are some of the intricacies of recording people unaware. Now, one other key thing that worries me a lot. In many legal cases, there's what we call discovery. And I'm more interested in having the entirety of the tape.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that if there are 2 or 3 people having a conversation, why play out just one person?
Okay.
Because, as we judge here, some of the things you might say might trip me to say other things. Depending on the level at which you are also going. And it's very important that for the integrity of the decision that will be made ultimately, that the parties involved, all their voices are heard. And that is very important for me. And I would hope that should this end up in court, the judges or the jury must make sure that the edited, unadulterated version, whatever it is brought to bear, so that we hear that of the other people.
The unedited one, which the raw thing.
The raw thing, so that we can even make a better judgment. Because, for instance, if I insult your mom, and then you trip and also insult my father, blah, 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 then I cannot discount what you said that made me say what I said. So I think that in the interest of fairness, and justice is all about fairness. For all you know, the omitted voices said rather damaging things, more so than what we are hearing.
Okay, so my little challenge with what happened yesterday in terms of the IGP being brought in was I asked myself the question, I said, look, 3 or 4 people are having conversations in a room
About somebody.
about somebody else. Why is that person being brought in to sit in front of the
Fantastic
panel?
question.
Yeah.
Fantastic question. And I really think that why should he even come and defend?
Yeah.
Things
it's an accusation that
that people are saying about him. And I really think you have a very powerful question on this thing, because is the accused person through an audio tape now necessarily required by law to then come and answer to some accusations leveled against him, and must it be public?
Okay.
That is another aspect of it. So I'm really troubled by this whole thing, and even I think some of the things that the witnesses could not, say were because this thing was being done in camera, and they felt that they didn't want to bring the service in disrepute.
Okay.
So they didn't want to make further, comments. But in totality, I also can appreciate, Dr. Dampare's scenario or case where, because of this audio tape, his line of work or duty has now been brought into questioning, and everybody is focused on Dampare. And I also worry largely for the appointing authority, which is the president, in the sense that we need to question ourselves. Per these allegations, per these orations, per these spotlight things, is that going to impair Dr. Dampare's work? Or will, moving forward, everything he does be done as a post-traumatic stress of this? And is that going to impact the police service? Where, because there's an allegation of not promoting people, then
so
he
now
goes
he's in a hurry to promote everybody.
So I think that the appointing authority needs to also assess this and look at what is in the interest of the country as a whole, and then make a decision. And then we also need to, this goes back to how we appoint IGPs. And I think that we really need to look at it carefully moving forward. There isn't much talk about military leadership. I think there's more politics, unfortunately, with IGPs over the past several years. And it's almost like every IGP is the president's man. I can...
No, I think it's just the way our system is set up, because you do have the police council, right? But the police council advises, and that's what they do. I'm wondering that should we not take that power or that appointing responsibility away from the president and give it to the police council, and say that rather, instead of the president getting advice from the police council or recommendations from the police council, rather the president together with the police council
can
sit on it and decide together, so that it becomes something that's more of a police decision with the president's involvement.
Any president will have leverage,
as opposed to he being the one who says it's his decision.
Any president would have leverage. I mean, I'm looking at where there's a chairperson for a meeting. The chairperson can choose to admit certain questions or not. And I think that whether the president is at the table with them or not, he would always have leverage. I mean, looking at...
No, I mean, leverage is fair. Leverage is fair because he is the president. But if the Constitution is amended in such a way that the police council has maximum sway, in terms of the decision that is taken, because they have worked with it's their people. They've worked with them. I mean, I understand that from the Deputy Commissioner of Police upwards, anybody can be appointed.
Exactly.
Which means there's a whole pool to choose from.
Now there is. There used to be so few a number of DCOPs,
yes, and COPs,
and COPs. But I think that the police service, based on Ghana's population, is increasing, and I even think that there are fewer than needed. And I think this even calls for a bigger question: how are we going to improve on our police service in terms of numbers? Because our police to population ratio is so bad.
Yes,
I can cite, for instance, my constituency with over 300,000 people, and I can tell you that we don't have the necessary number of police in terms of presence. And this goes to bags being snatched at night, all these other security problems that we have. And I think that this tape is bringing to limelight some of the issues that within the police service. And I think that all Ghanaians should put on a different glass when they are looking at this matter. One, what are the systemic issues which are not necessarily inherited or brought upon the police service by Dr. Dampare?
Okay.
And then what are the others that have been brought upon because of either political coloring, be it green, black, and red, or white, blue
and red.
Yeah. So those are the intricacies. But through it all, I think the saga really comes back or down to election 2024, and I think that is what has brought
all this about anyway.
To where it is, and I can categorically say that if any political party is looking to depend on the police service or electoral commission, then they are doomed. A good sportsman would go to match like Azuma Nelson. You need to
your own referee.
You need to beat the person well, so that the jury would be very clear that hey, Azuma has won the match, and he does that by a knockout, 7th or 8th. So I think that, and this goes to NDC and MPP, that listen, for 2024, you need to let your work be intact, so that it will not. And I do not discount the fact that police service and EC can influence to an extent the political outcome.
But you feel it's limited.
But I think that if your work is buffy enough and you can collate your figures appropriately, more so just like Citi News did fantastic job with 2020 elections. I mean, your calls were reaffirmed and confirmed by the Electoral Commission. So I think that any party going into 2024 needs to be guided and very, serious with their work, so that if these allegations are true, you don't care. Okay. If they are not true too, you are safe.
All right, thank you. Well, now I want to introduce my other guest to you, Victor Kojogan Adawudu. He's a member of the NDC Legal and Communications team. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, Kweku. And good morning, Doctor.
Good morning. How you doing?
Yes. Pretty well. I'm doing fine.
Okay, it's good to have you here. It's good to have you back.
Just over the weekend, I went to OT.
Okay.
Specifically went to Dampare and Karachi. It was more for me. My grandfather had a cocoa farm there, so and it was more like a reunion.
Okay.
And I've seen the way the privation and other things, but I see I was really, really surprised and shocked. Everybody wanted to come and see me. That this is our little boy who started school here, and I appreciate that. It just tells me that a lot of people look up to us. When we are in the city, they look up to us to make sure that at least something cascades down to them. And it gave me some feeling that, look, we only sit in, we think Accra, Kumasi is Ghana, and we sit here and banter all the time when the people are looking up to us for butter and bread issues. And it's changed my psychic a little bit, that there's no need. What the people want is what we should be doing.
Yes, your thoughts on, eventually IGP was brought into the committee to sit before the committee, and he's, debunked a lot of things, allegations that were made against him. He doesn't have any working relationship with Bugri Naabu, he says. He says nobody's promotion is being sat on, and so on and so forth, different things. I'm not sure how much of it you followed, but what do you make of things so far?
I listen with rapt attention. For me, the whole, now they've given it some name. I think it's Christian Kokonsa
tape.
The whole Kokonsa
tape saga.
For me, it might be a good omen. It might be a good omen for all of us as a public.
Okay, how so?
Yes, because you see, the allegations that have been made, what has been said, the leak tape, has given the Ghana Police Service itself an opportunity to be heard, and the public is listening to them. And I'm sure out of this, the challenges, the allegations, counter-allegations that had come to the fore is being discussed. Recommendations will be made. But I think it was just a tip of the iceberg that was related to the elections. The whole thing started from the Asin North. But now we are hearing a lot of things that is being done within the police service. Hitherto, nobody was hearing. And those days...
Isn't it a case of sour grapes that some people are just griping about sour grapes? It's like, I didn't get opportunity to be IGP, and, I wanted somebody to, push me into that place. And so it's brought certain conversations up, for example, promotions, because some people, about 82 of them, had sued and said, we are not being promoted, and it's brought up all of these other issues. But was it really not just a case of sour grapes?
No, I don't think so. I think that we, the politicians, should also take the blame, part of the blame. We have been able to infiltrate into the institution. That people who were maybe polling agents, assistants, they just recruit you. Recruitment into the police has changed. The modalities into the police. So it has given the currency to the extent that people think that it was this party that favored me to join the police service. So, although it is unwritten and is not being seen, we have the people who sympathize with the NDC as a party, people who sympathize with the NPP as a party within. So once they get to the top echelon, they think that because there is an advantage they've been taking over the special recommendation, you can even do 2 or 3 years. When you are recommended to the police council, they can promote you within even 2 years. And that's what they had seen, that taking advantage of that modality of. So you realize that people get there and they think that they are entitled. It is our time. It is my party that is in power. Why shouldn't I enjoy the largest and the benefits from the institution? So with this going on, you would see that this is an IGP or a leadership that is changing the kind of leadership we used to see. So his way of doing things is not everybody who is comfortable with him. And these are the things that they think that this is how it used to be. But we are seeing a departure
from that.
That leadership.
And it's rubbing some people the wrong way.
Yeah, the wrong way. And one of the things that I think Superintendent Tobu asked was that hitherto we used to hear the regional PROs speaking on issues. They brief us on issues from almost all the regions, and the PRO, the Director General, also speak. These days you don't see it like that. So he was saying that what is happening is the change of the leadership. What they think should be done. Those are the issues that is coming to the fore. Now, is it a case that they think that this, the IGP, the current IGP, thinks that he's doing will be inimical to the interest of the NPP going ahead to win the election? These are people who are also sympathizing with the NPP and think that this is what ought to be done. And it's not being done. I'm sure the other party also, which might be the NDC, also thinks that no, if we have a strong man leading who seems to be fair and impartial, why should they be all this? So I think it's an opportunity for the police service to be reformed for the police service. And, you know, the IGP sound very conciliatory. Very, very yesterday. I hope and pray that it is sincere, it is genuine, that he calls them that they are his brothers.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will see them as the prodigal son. I've also had encounter with Superintendent Asari before, you know, the one involved in this.
Yeah.
You know, the way things are done, that is what. And even Parliament itself told them that I think it's an opportunity to amend or look at the constitutional instrument again. Because that also is a source of one of the problems that we've done. That everybody who comes in from 1992 all right down to 2012 with academic progression, with when you add value to yourself and what we are doing, you are given some opportunity. That is no more. So what are the benefits or what is the motivation? I think it's the source. And people took advantage knowing that when I write or I progress, I should be promoted. And there had been some of the issues. And the IGP said it clearly that, look, I'm a beneficiary from that system. Why should I deny others today? But that is the law. That is what the law has said. Maybe until it has been tested by the Supreme Court or the court, which will give it some meaning, the intended purpose and the meaning to it, unless Parliament takes the advantage or the police institution itself would do a new CI that can be sent and it will be looked at so that they can. That is one of the thorny issue. I don't think ordinarily anybody who is working hard and being promoted and getting what is due would complain. So for me, this tape is serving this nation very well. Yes, you may see one or two.
So you think the public hearings have been good?
I think so. I think it's been good. It's been good. We can also read in between the lines. Some of the questioning, where the question, you can see that, yes, this has a little political coloration. This man also feels that this man is for us. He sympathizes with us. Why should we leave him or throw him out of the tap? You know, so for me, I think the police service is good. Now, the only challenge is that I hope the recommendations that will be made will not lead, or there should be political machination for the removal of the IGP. If it is removed, it will now confirm that really the agenda is to rig the election, so somebody is being brought in.
How does that confirm?
No, the allegations have been made. That the allegations being made is that his stay will be inimical to us. We will not be able to win election. You've said that the police cannot influence, they cannot do anything. They are not the final persons to call the election. It's the Electoral Commission. However, you see, when you go as polling agents and you see all police people around, look, the intimidation people get. Let me give you a classical example. During the 2020, I had to drive and ended up in New Ejubiase. When I got to New Ejubiase, you know, the people started jubilating around 5, 6. They said, we've won. Then, around 8, I said, no, let's go to the collation center. When we got to the collation center, the soldier man and the policeman said nobody was going to enter. You know, they were intimidating everybody. So I just looked at the man and I said, Chief, I beg you, I'm here to make sure that I'm coming to the collation center. He said, who are you? But the moment he asked the people and got to know that he's one of the lawyers who had come in, and luckily also one of the police commander who was my junior saw me and said, oh, senior, what are you doing here? I said, I've come for the election. That brought the tension down. So with the kind of intimidation, they may not call, but at the end of the day, they may be able to influence. And I think that that is what we all want to guard against. Election is won. Look, I'm telling you that the new ADBRC who have lost the seat. You know why? The people felt they have won. So they were jubilating.
Okay.
They didn't even come to
It's just a polling station.
because the results. It was when we got to the polling station and the results started trickling, the addition were being done, that we realized that, look, the election really had been won. But if you had stayed home, you come and you say, and I understand it. So for me, with the police service, and he said something which was profound yesterday, that they realized that always having the National Election Task Force, normally they do it very late, they are behind time. Now it is being put into the mainstream. Okay. So every region, once you finish, there's an election unit, police election unit or secretariat. People are drafted into it and you start planning. I think that it's something we need to look at and embrace so that it doesn't become, when there is an election or by-election, then now you will see all the police coming from all sides. But whilst it's been decentralized and we know the modalities, you know, this is what is accepted and this is where we have to go. So for me, it's been an interesting one. Yes, if we get in and get to the bottom of it, and we know these allegations were cooked, they are unfounded, baseless, yes, it has served us also good. They intended it for maybe evil, it has become good. Okay. For the public, for the police.
My only thing is that I don't want to validate your point, which is that if the IGP should be removed, then allegation is true. That one, I think, the logic doesn't make sense. Because either way, he may have been removed. That is one thing. Yeah. So I beg to differ on the fact that his removal then puts a rubber stamp on the allegation. That one I beg to do. Because he's subject to be removed at any point in time.
Oh, yeah. Doc,
yes.
So I agree with you that your employer or the person who appoints you can decide at any time. But what has been the perception now? It is the perception that I'm saying that it will be validated.
It's almost like people have sort of muddied the waters a bit. So
yes.
Yeah, but
it then leads.
Yes.
From a professional point, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
There's an assumption that you are sick. Okay. Everybody is saying you are sick. You come to the doctor. If he treats you, doesn't mean that it's because of what people are saying.
Okay.
Please, I understand. Yes. He treats you because he's done an assessment and has come to a determination that,
there's something that
there's something that has to be treated.
Okay.
Because a doctor cannot then treat you because, ebushani na say mami yare. Please, I understand.
Yes. But then the doctor treating you also then...
It doesn't validate what they are saying. It just...
what we thought is actually true.
That one is, yeah. But then in this scenario, if for instance, and let me just be straight up, if the president had intended that this man would serve for 5 years, whatever the issues, he intended to do in 5 years, any allegation can be raised whenever you change a leader. Any allegation can be.
Yeah, Doc. You see, I agree with you from the professional point of view.
Yeah. And even politically.
No, politically, the climate in which we are now, there's that suspicion, mistrust. So whilst there is mistrust and there's
a lot of suspicion, though. Yeah.
You know, genuinely, you think this is all to be done. And
because I also think that there's the other argument where now he can be handicapped by all of this.
Exactly.
And not be able to
function
properly.
Yeah.
And that also is a very serious thing. You know, it's like somebody who shoots a victim and the victim dies. The next time he has another altercation, instead of pulling his gun out to fire, he might restrain himself and then not work well. Yeah. So even in police service elsewhere, after such incidents, the police person involved, the detective or whoever, is taken through psychiatric assessment to make sure that he's fit. Or let me say post-traumatic. A policeman gets shot and doesn't die. Before you go back to the force with that venom, you have to be assessed to make sure that you are mentally capable to go and firearms again. So this is my thing, and I think it should be done in consultation with the necessary bodies, and if the intention is to quell the allegations, fine. But I believe that performance over anything, and that is what IGP needs to also look at, and either decide that, listen, per all of this, you know what, let me, stay off the scene, and then, But anyways, it's been fun. I mean, I think he's really brought police service in the news.
I think he has.
I mean, not just with these tapes,
Yes.
but many things. And I must say kudos to the IGP. And I think one thing that I can say is his hallmark is professionalism in police service.
I agree with that.
And that, granted, sometimes they're a bit too much. I mean, when I say they're a bit too much, I think that, some level of respect needs to be given to the other arms of government, and not that I think that any judge is superior to an ordinary citizen or any MP is superior to an, but then with the nature, I mean, I saw one scenario where a NADMO officer who was rushing to a scene was stopped and car taken from him. I think that sometimes it's almost like a doctor rushing to theater. If you stop me, you're killing somebody.
Yeah.
You understand? So I think that not all rules should be applied equally when it comes to some of these things, and then it should be looked at carefully. If there's an incident, a high official calls to interrogate the matter, you shouldn't be pissed off. These things do happen. It's the nature of the job.
Okay.
So that's the one key thing.
Okay.
It was so disappointing when some members of parliament's cars were impounded. I mean, under very regrettable scenarios. So I think, and it can be very embarrassing, and it can cost somebody his seat.
But I think that in all fairness, I think it also gives the citizenry a certain assurance that nobody's above the law.
To an extent.
Yeah.
To an extent.
And for me, I say yes. Sometimes it can be embarrassing. Sometimes it can feel a little uncomfortable and all that. But for me, the larger good is that the citizenry should trust the police service to do what it is that they have to do.
But there's some instances, but I won't go into that here. But I
don't think we can be happy about everything, right?
Situations where there will be different strokes for all the folks.